welcome everybody to Lansing Community College and to our Veterans Induction Ceremony. We're delighted to have everybody join us today. My name is Andrew Cosgrove and I am the Director of LCC's Veteran and Military Affairs Department. This is the 6th annual induction ceremony at this beautiful memorial that you see here on stage. Since 2010, 31 names have been etched into our glass panels, and today we will be honoring 3 more individuals who will be enshrined forever. Veterans Day is a special day in the United States. It allows us to reflect on past conflicts from the American Revolution up till the current war on terrorism. But more importantly, it allows us to reflect on and appreciate those who have served our great nation in times of war and peace. John F. Kennedy once said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." It is a day that should never be forgotten by future generations, a day that should always be celebrated for what it is, a day of remembrance and a day of gratitude to those who have served in order to allow us to remain free. It is difficult for any person to not have a connection to a veteran in some way. So I urge everyone to hold those who have served in your hearts today and thank them silently or loudly if you would like, and continue to do so for years to come. A day is one day, but gratitude, honor, and respect will last a lifetime. And with that, I'd like us all to take a brief moment and bow our heads in silence before we continue on with our ceremony, in remembrance with all those veterans who have gone before us. Thank you. At this time, I would like to ask LCC Board Trustee Larry Meyer to lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Meyer. At this time, I would like to acknowledge some special guests present with us today. Trustee Larry Meyer, Trustee Andrew Abood, and elected officials, State Representative Tom Cochran, Senator Curtis Hertel, Griffin Working, who is representing Senator Gary Peters' office today, and Lansing Township Clerk Susan Ayton. Thank you to all of you for being here today. And now I will ask that all active duty, military veterans, and family members please rise. Thank you for the service that you've given to our country and for the sacrifices that all of you have made. Thank you. And now it is my privilege to introduce the president of Lansing Community College, Dr. Brent Knight.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Andrew, for that introduction, and thank you for your service to our country. We are very proud of you. Andrew is one of the many veterans who work at LCC. They bring skills and experiences to this college and a sense of selfless service that enriches our entire campus community. We gather here today mindful of the men and women who continue to defend our great nation. Many have endured tour after tour in distant in difficult places, protecting us from danger, and providing others with the opportunity to have better lives. Since LCC opened in 1957, thousands of students have come here after serving on the battlefield or have graduated before enlisting in the armed forces. This beautiful interactive exhibit was created in 2010 to honor the military veterans from Michigan who have served our great nation with distinction. We honor them not only through this memorial, but through the educational opportunities and support that we offer veterans here every day. I am honored to pay tribute to all the men and women who have served as we induct 3 veterans into the LCC Veterans Memorial this afternoon. So to our veterans, our active duty military, to the fallen, and to their families, there is no tribute, no commemoration, no praise that can match the magnitude of your service and sacrifice. Thank you for your courage and dedication. Again, thank you for your sacrifices, and thank you for our freedom. This is your day, and we salute you.
Trustee Meyer.
Now is the time that we present our awards to our distinguished service persons that we're recognizing. I will be reading a brief description. In your program is a more complete dossier on their accomplishments and their life after their military service. Our first honoree is Mr. Robert A. Bell from Lansing, Michigan, Senior Airman, United States Air Force. Senior Airman Bell enlisted in 1953 as a tail gunner for B-29 bombers. He spent the majority of his enlistment developing and analyzing aerial bombing photos and film to enhance bombing crew training and photo reconnaissance technology during the Korean conflict. After that, Mr. Bell worked for Lieberman's for 42 years, rising to the position of Vice President of Operations. He has volunteered many years to work at the YMCA, the West Side Neighborhood Association, and also serves as president of the PTA cluster. It's my honor to present Mr. Robert A. Bell. Thank you, Airman Bell. Our next awardee is Mr. Russell Hilding from Lansing, Michigan, Captain, United States Army, Air Force. Captain Hilding received his pilot's wing in September 1943. He survived a bailout during a bombing run over Munich, Germany, and was subsequently arrested by the Gestapo. He endured imprisonment at Stalag Luft 3 and was finally liberated in April of 1945 by Russian forces. Captain Hilding was awarded the U.S. Army Air Force Pilot's Wing Badge, the Air Medal Oak Leaf Cluster, the Prisoner of War Medal, and the World War II European Campaign Medal. What an extraordinary career. Congratulations. I don't know who said, "Yay, Grandpa," but we ought to give that young person an applause. Thank you. Hooray, Grandpa. Our final awardee, number 3, is Mr. John A. Johnson from Lansing, Michigan, Major General, United States Air Force. Major General Johnson earned his pilot wings in January of 1944 and flew 98 combat missions in Europe. During the next 38 years, he then served on active duty and in the Michigan Air National Guard. Major General Johnson retired in 1983 after 41 years of service. His awards include the Distinguished Service Medal, the Air Medal with 15 oak leaf clusters, and the Purple Heart. Major General Johnson passed away in 2003. His widow, Dorothy, is accepting the award today on his behalf. Congratulations, Dorothy, for General Johnson. Please join me. Before we watch the video, I want to say one thing. There's a thing we always need to keep in mind when we see war heroes like this. It begins, first is respect, second is honor, and the last is gratitude. Thank you all. We now have a video tribute to our heroes.
Robert Bell enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1953 to help support the American efforts in the Korean conflict, the 3rd African American to be assigned to the 90th Bombardment Group. He was trained to be a tail gunner for a B-29 Super Fortress, but before Robert saw any action, the World War II era B-29 was replaced by the B-47 Stratojet, and his training became obsolete. Transferred to Forbes Air Force Base in Topeka, Kansas, Robert began a new career, that of a technical reconnaissance photo technician. It became his duty to develop and analyze vital reconnaissance photos. Robert was promoted to senior airman, given top secret clearance, and even earned Airman of the Month in his 3rd year of enlistment. The diligent work by Senior Airman Robert Bell and his colleagues was imperative to the training of bombing crews and to the advancement of further photo reconnaissance technology during and after the Korean War.
Russell D. Hilding always had the desire to fly. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Hilding was in the middle of a flying lesson at Lansing's capital city airport. Hilding signed up for the Army Air Corps the following summer and found his way into B-17 flight school. By the fall of 1944, Lieutenant Hilding was made pilot in command of a B-17 in the 8th Air Force's 447th Bomb Group, located at Rattlesden Airfield, near London, England. Hilding flew 10 missions, bombing military and manufacturing targets in Germany and in occupied France. On July 13, 1944, Hilding flew his 11th mission, a daylight bombing run over Munich. As he neared his target, heavy flak destroyed one engine and wounded several members of the crew. Hilding reduced his altitude, hoping to join another group flying at a lower level, but was attacked by German fighters. Trying to make his way back to England in cloud cover, he lost 2 more engines. Hilding gave the order for his crew to bail out, and then he ditched the B-17 in a wheat field. The French underground aided Hilding, his co-pilot, and his bombardier in evading the Gestapo for nearly 2 weeks. Eventually, they were captured and sent off to Buchenwald, a German concentration camp. The overcrowded conditions at the camp allowed no shelter for the men. For 2 months, Hilding and his crew lived and slept in the muddy open prison yard. At one point, a Luftwaffe officer who was visiting the camp noticed there were American airmen there and took them into custody. They were taken to Stalag Luft III, a POW camp run by Luftwaffe. Hilding and his men remained there until January 1945. When the Russians began moving in, Stalag Luft 3 was evacuated and the prisoners were marched 60 miles north in freezing temperatures to Stalag 7A. Several prisoners died along the way. In April of 1945, the American Army liberated the camp and freed Hilding and his men. He later learned that the rest of his crew survived and had made their way back to England. Among his many medals, First Lieutenant Russell D. Hilding was awarded the U.S. Army Air Force's Pilot Wing Badge and the Air Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster. In September of 1942, John A. Johnston enlisted in the Army Air Corps. After completing his pilot training and tactical reconnaissance, Johnston was assigned to the 162nd Tactical Reconnaissance Squadron for the duration of World War II. During one of his missions, Johnston's plane was damaged by gunfire, and he was forced to parachute behind enemy lines. With the help of a French patriot, he made his way back to a U.S. Army hospital and was flying again within 30 days. By the end of the war, Johnston had flown 98 combat missions. Johnston joined the reserves and was assigned to the 171st Fighter Squadron. He was commander of that unit when it was called into service to fight in the Korean War. Within a year, he became a section commander at the Air Force Training School, focusing on instrument flying in all weather conditions. In 1952, Johnston was released from active duty in Korea and became commander of the re-established Michigan Air National Guard, a position he held while also appointed as Assistant Adjutant General in 1959. In 1974, General Johnston was appointed as Adjutant General of Michigan. He retired as a Major General in 1983 after 41 years of military service and over 8,000 hours of flying time in 25 different types of aircraft. Major General John A. Johnston accrued many medals during his career. Chief among them were the Air Medal with 15 oak leaf clusters and the Distinguished Service Medal. And in honor of his legacy, once a year, the Michigan National Guard Association presents the Major General John A. Johnston Award to a member of the Michigan Air National Guard who is distinguished with remarkably outstanding, consistent, and meritorious service to the United States, the state of Michigan, and the Michigan Air National Guard.
Was Chris Lewis on the saxophone. Chris is a LCC student in the musical program. So thank you, Chris. That was great. Thanks. So that concludes the ceremonial portion of our event today. I want to thank everyone for attending the Veterans Induction Ceremony. We are honored to be able to hold this event and induct our local heroes into our memorial. We look forward to honoring more individuals as years go on. At this time, I would like to invite all veterans who are interested onto the stage for a group photo. Thank you.